It was a moment no fan of swamp people ever wanted to face. The news broke quietly at first, then spread like wildfire across social media. Junior Edwards, the fearless alligator hunter whose no-nonsense grit defined the show's early years, was gone. But the story of how he lived and the mark he left behind is one you'll never forget. From the moment Swamp People first aired in 2010, Junior Edwards stood out like a gator's eyes glinting in the moonlight. He didn't need flashy catchphrases or made-for-TV drama to grab attention. His sheer skill on the water spoke for itself. A true son of the bayou, Junior came from a family where hunting wasn't a hobby, it was a way of life. Generations before him had navigated those murky Louisiana waters, setting lines and pulling in creatures that most people wouldn't dare get within 20 feet of. When the History Channel cameras showed up, Junior didn't change a thing. What you saw was exactly who he was, calm, focused, and always in control, whether a gator was thrashing on the line or the weather was turning ugly. His partnership with his son, Willie Edwards, quickly became one of the most memorable duos on the show. There was an easy trust between them that came from years of working side by side. They didn't waste words, they didn't play to the camera, they got the job done. For 5 seasons, Junior was a fixture of Swamp People, showing audiences around the world what it meant to earn your living from the land and water. Then in 2015, he quietly stepped away from the series. No big announcement, no drawn-out farewell, just the same understated style he was known for. Fans were left wondering why, and whether they'd ever see him on their screens again. What they didn't know was that Junior's time in the spotlight wasn't over, not by a long shot. Off camera, Junior Edwards was the same man you saw in Swamp People, tough as cypress wood and steady as the current. He wasn't interested in glamour or fame. For him, the swamp was his office, his grocery store, and his legacy, all rolled into one. Every hunt was serious business. Every line he set was done with precision, born from decades of experience. Junior had a reputation for being old school in the best possible way. He relied on skill and instinct more than gadgets or shortcuts. Bad weather? He'd push through it. Dangerous waters? He'd know exactly where to steer his boat to avoid trouble, or head straight into it if that's where the gator was hiding. Fans loved how unshakable he seemed. No matter how massive the alligator, Junior handled it like just another day at work. But those who knew him personally say his toughness wasn't the whole story. Beneath the rugged exterior was a man deeply committed to his family and his community. Neighbors tell stories of him helping out without expecting anything in return, quiet acts of generosity you'd never hear about on TV. That's why in Louisiana, he wasn't just a reality TV personality. He was their Junior, one of their own. His work ethic and humility made him stand out in an industry that often thrives on showmanship. Junior didn't need a script to make good television. He just had to be himself. But just when it seemed his days on TV were over, something unexpected brought him back into the public eye. For years after leaving Swamp People in 2015, Junior Edwards stayed mostly out of the spotlight. Fans spotted him occasionally at local events or heard rumors about him still running lines in the swamp. But on TV, nothing. It seemed like his chapter in the Swamp People story had closed. But then in 2021, the unexpected happened. Junior made his return for season 12. The moment he appeared back on screen, it was like no time had passed. He had the same calm, deliberate style that made him a fan favorite, the same confidence when pulling in a thrashing gator, and that familiar no-nonsense voice that could cut through the roar of the swamp. For longtime viewers, it felt like seeing an old friend again. This wasn't just a cameo. Junior jumped right back into the thick of the action, proving that even after years away from television, his skills hadn't dulled one bit. Younger hunters might have had speed or stamina on their side, but Junior had something far more valuable: decades of experience and a steady hand when it mattered most. The return sparked questions. Why come back now? Was it unfinished business, a love for the hunt, or maybe just the right timing? Junior never gave long, drawn-out explanations. In classic fashion, he let the work speak for itself. For fans, season 12 was a reminder. Some legends aren't meant to fade quietly into the background. But while the cameras were capturing his return, a private battle was brewing far from the public eye. In the summer of 2025, fans of Swamp People woke to the kind of news that stops you in your tracks. On July 26, Junior Edwards had passed away at the age of 60. The initial announcements were brief, offering little detail beyond the fact that the legendary hunter was gone. For many, it felt sudden, almost impossible to believe that someone so tough, so seemingly unshakable, could be taken. In the days that followed, his family confirmed what had been quietly unfolding behind the scenes. Junior had been battling colon cancer, a fight he kept largely private. There were no public pleas for sympathy, no drawn-out updates. In true Junior fashion, he faced it the same way he approached the swamp, head-on, without complaint, and with a determination that inspired those closest to him. It's a strange thing when a reality TV figure passes away. You may have never met them, but after watching them for years, it feels personal, like losing a neighbor or a distant relative. For Swamp People fans, Junior was more than just part of the show's early seasons. He was a cornerstone of what made the series authentic. When word spread online, it wasn't just the Swamp People community that reacted. Outdoor enthusiasts, hunters, and people from across Louisiana shared their grief. The man who could haul in a 12-foot gator without breaking a sweat had fought his hardest battle, and this time nature had the last word. But while his life ended, the tributes that followed made it clear. Junior Edwards' legacy had only just begun. The news of Junior Edwards' passing hit the Swamp People family hard. One of the first to speak publicly was his grandson, Lil Willie Edwards, who wrote a heartfelt post on Facebook. "Rest easy, Paw, running your hoop nets inside those pearly gates until we meet again." It was a simple line, but it carried the weight of generations, the kind of bond that only a family built on the water could truly understand. Ashley Deadeye Jones, one of the show's standout hunters, also shared her grief. She called Junior one of the greatest alligator hunters and a hardcore outdoorsman, words that perfectly captured the man fans had come to know. Other cast members chimed in, recalling moments in the swamp when Junior's calm under pressure or quick decision-making had made all the difference. But it wasn't just the people who worked with him. Across social media, thousands of fans posted old photos, autographs, and stories from chance encounters at festivals and boat landings. Many described him as humble, approachable, and patient, always willing to swap a hunting story or take a quick picture. Even those who had never met him felt the loss. For them, Junior represented something rare on television: authenticity. There was no performance, no exaggeration, just a man doing what he loved and letting the rest of the world watch. As the tributes poured in, one thing was clear. Junior Edwards hadn't just been part of a TV show, he'd become part of people's lives. And that's why his legacy will keep growing, long after his last day on the water. Junior Edwards didn't set out to be a television personality. He wasn't chasing fame, and he didn't try to shape himself into some larger-than-life figure for the cameras. That's exactly why he stood out. What you saw on Swamp People was what locals had known for years: a man whose life was built on hard work, respect for the swamp, and an unshakable commitment to his family. In the early seasons, he gave the audience something rare in reality TV: authenticity without artifice. His hunts weren't just action scenes, they were lessons in patience, precision, and knowing your environment. Watching Junior work was like watching a craftsman, each step deliberate, each move born from years of muscle memory. Even after leaving the show, his influence lingered. Newer cast members cited him as an example to follow, and fans often compared current episodes to the Junior days of the series. His brief return in season 12 only reinforced his status as a legend, proof that the swamp still recognized its own. But perhaps his greatest impact was in how he embodied the values of the Louisiana bayou: self-reliance, grit, humility. These were qualities that made him more than just a skilled hunter. They made him a symbol of a way of life that's slowly disappearing. For viewers, Junior's story is a reminder that you don't need to be loud to leave a lasting mark. Sometimes the quietest presence creates the loudest legacy. And for the people of the swamp, Junior Edwards will always be exactly that: a legend who never truly left. Junior Edwards' life wasn't defined by television. It was defined by tradition, family, and an unwavering bond with the swamp. He showed millions that true grit isn't loud or flashy. It's steady, relentless, and built over a lifetime. From the early seasons of Swamp People to his unexpected return, he left behind a blueprint for authenticity in a world that often rewards the opposite. Though the waters he once navigated will now flow without him, his legacy rides every current, every ripple, and every story told about him. In the bayou, legends like Junior don't fade. They live forever.